In this video, I'll be showing how to use a parameter inside an already created procedure. In this case, I'll be using a biped procedure that I've already made so that this boy can march. It's right here, basically the steps on how to do it, and then now I'll go over how to add a parameter to that to make it easier to work with and to have it communicate with my first method. The first thing is that if I didn't have it with a parameter, I would just come up here, put march, and then when I run it, it's only going to march however many steps I made it inside here, which in this case I made it only march 0.5 forward. So with a parameter, I can come here and click add parameter. I'm going to call it distance. It's going to be a decimal number just in case I want to make the distance more specific. And then I just drag it into all the statements that have to do with distance. Make sure it's not the duration, only the distance. It's not letting me, so I can always just go down to the drop down and add it like this. So those are two ways to do it. And now, from my first method, it's going to have distance unset. So if I run the program just like this, it's going to give me an error because it wants to know what's the distance that the person is going to march in. So if I just run it, it would give me an error. So I have to always make sure to set my parameters initially in the right place, and then in my first method or any other method that I'm referring to them, to also go back and set them. In this case, I want the distance that this person walks to be 2. But now, before I run it, I'm going to make sure that I only put the parameter in for the actual distance. So here, if we look at it, I actually didn't only put it for the actual distance. These are the hip movements. So the hip movements should have stayed the same way they were before. I think 0.25 is how they were before, and only in how much is going to move forward am I going to use the parameter. So now when I go back to my first method and play it, as you can see, it moved more. Also, I can make it move only 0.25, but if I do that, then I have to mess with the duration here, or maybe not, depending on how realistic you want the person to look. So there it is. So this parameter made it way easier for me to constantly change how much I want the person to walk without having to change a variable here and then make another variable here and change that one continually, or make a global variable, which is the other way I could have done this. Instead, I just use this parameter, and it's really simple because I'm only going